Patience is not a virtue. It is a weapon. What's your wow rabbit?
And you can see how these two super grandmasters made their way to the final. Hikaru Nakamura beat Levon Pansulaya, then edged out Parham Maksulu, the top seed, in a bullet game. Vidit Gujrathi has been unscathed in the knockout, beating Alexei Podorozhny and then sweeping Shakhriyar Mamedyarov. A bit of a surprise there. Mamedyarov is a superstar, but in the first game, it was getting to a position towards the end game. And, well, it looks like Vidit's tactics were sharper. And then game two as well. In the time scramble, it was Vidit who looked like the powerful player that he is. And now he gets to face, as his reward, Hikaru Nakamura for first place in this knockout. Both these two players, stellar ambassadors of the game of chess, been streaming a ton lately. Vidit on YouTube, Hikaru on Twitch. And we are just making sure that the players are set up. And I'll be getting the word on who gets white in the first game. Remember, it is a 2-game mini match of 3-minute plus 1 second increment. And looks like Hikaru is taking the white pieces, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully these games take off soon and we'll get to the chess, because you know me, I'm always excited for some awesome speed chess, great games to commentate on. And, well, Vidit is just looking to upset, if you will, another super grandmaster back-to-back. So, you know, it's hard to say in these online chess events because Vidit is a powerhouse himself, but Mamedyarov, in terms of at least over-the-board chess, has the higher of the two ratings. And, I was wrong. Hikaru has black to start with. So he gets black in the first game. And so Vidit will try to prove the first move advantage here, try to take an initiative. You do not want to lose with the white pieces. We saw, we've seen what happens in those cases. You lose with the white and you somehow win with black. Not so easy. So for Vidit, you want to make the most of this in the opening game. And for Hikaru, well, you're kind of chilling. We saw his approach against Parham Maksulu. 2 draws are okay with him because he is the favorite in the bullet. So we are going to have the games begin right now. Here we are. So Vidit, white pieces, plays d4. We saw him do the same against Mamedyarov. And will we get a King's Indian? No, we will not. We will get maybe a Nimzo. Let's see how Vidit continues here. Knight c3, typical. Bishop b4 after that. No, we see knight f3 and d5. So we have the QGD. And we're going to get a Catalan. Here we go. The bishop on the long diagonal. Please take me on c4. That's what has been asked and answered. So, sure, you asked me to, I will. So this bishop on g2 would love to remove that bishop on c6 out of the way. But the problem is not easy to do that. You're not going to accomplish that. And this is in the line, I believe, where black takes on f3 and plays c6. So you take on f3, the bishop takes back, you play c6, and you claim that you have a brick wall on the queen side. Here it is, exactly the sequence. And opposite color bishops, white has slightly more space, but black has great control over this b4 square. So that's the good news for black. Control the b4 square, no targets to exploit, but white just has more space. And considering how quickly Vidit's been playing this, I feel like maybe he has a little something up his sleeve here, because black, generally speaking, shuffles around a bit, doesn't really do much of anything. If he can't play c5, that opens up the bishop. You can think about playing e5, but that has ramifications that you'll have to deal with as well. So Hikaru, I think we'll put a rook on d8, maybe rook f to d8, keep this rook on a8. He plays e5. Okay, I thought d5 now is the move, because takes, bishop takes, and what ideally you get is if this black knight takes you on d5, you end up putting your own knight on a light square, and this bishop on d6 can't attack you. So that's exactly what we're seeing. Maybe there was potential for knight c3 first, but instead it takes back on d5. That was the first one I said. Bishop can come back to g2, and now the light square bishop is better than knight. So that's the problem for black in these type of positions. It's not that white is much better, but white has a little pull no matter the trades that we get. If you take on c3, my knight gets there, I have a slight pull thanks to the quality of my bishop on g2. And now if I go knight d5, this could be a slightly better bishops of opposite color intense queen and rook's middle game, because the problem on f7 is greater than any problem that white has. But black is still holding in all these lines. I think you have to try knight d5 though. And there are the sirens. I know, there they go. It's not for any player's chances here. Looks pretty fine so far. Hikaru looking like he's having the time of his life, cracking up. I don't know what that's about. So Hikaru's having a blast. And Vidit seems to be really laser focused on the center of the board here. And I guess that's what it was about. He decides to trade one pair of rooks. And this rook would love to get to c6 and start trying to get in the position. But bishop c5 now says, nope, no progress for you. And the pawn can come to e4 to reinforce his bishop to keep it solidly in place. But if we play e4, black could play f5 and say, hey, my bishop is now open up as well. So I think this game, in all likelihood, will be a draw. I think they'll split the point. I'm not quite sure how white intends to improve the position from this point. f7 is defended. Queen defends b6. You can play bishop e7, rook d8. You can even play e4 and try to play queen to f3 check. I don't see what Vidit could possibly do here. I think it's totally fine. So bishop e7 allows for rook to d8 next. And swapping the rooks results in immediate equality. Rook e6, rook d6 as well. Nice. And if rook d7, you play rook e7. If rook e6, rook d6, you can try to do that. Rook e6, rook d7, there still is rook d6 because you can take on f7 with check, but I can take you back because once this rook gets to d6, it's a problem down the d file. Oop. Sorry, I dropped the rook on the square. I didn't mean to. Play bishop e7, going for the rook swap, next move. And I think we'll see a draw agreed. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I see you all in the chat. Thanks for everybody who's tuned in right now. We just have 2 games to go. This one, and if we get a winner in the next one, then it's all over. Or we go to a bullet tiebreaker. And the first to win a bullet game wins the match. So Vidit is trying to pretend like he has something here, but it's a whole lot of nothing. The queen and the bishop doing a great job of covering. These pawns are in dark squares, which means the bishop on c4 can't get there. Okay, these pieces all under attack, but so what? How can you make progress here? Maybe f4 at some point. Doesn't look real. Plays it. And this queen can probably continue to go back and forth from e7 to c7. So h4 takes. Do not take with the queen. That's how you drop a pawn, and that could be a problem. Even there actually isn't so bad. The nature of the opposite color bishops should be totally fine for black. So he takes the bishop, of course. And now white is up a pawn. So he's pretending, hey, I've got the extra pawn. All is good here. But the queen can still come to e7 and maybe into f6. That pawn moves. The queen can come to g5. Yeah, this is nothing. Whole lot of nothing. And I wonder if Hikaru could start thinking about playing for a win, because he is well ahead in the clock. And, you know, if at a certain point he realizes, hey, I can't really lose, so why don't I play on and try to see if I can swindle one? Wouldn't be that surprised. Like queen f5 here. Trying to get it over to c2 perhaps. e4, not an easy move to play when you give up more of the dark squares. So queen f3. Queen c2 check, king f1. Yeah, it's a draw. Both players know that it's a draw. But no harm in trying to just steal a victory. And no, he'll trade on f2 now, I think. Yeah, he realizes that there's nothing here. And draw agreed. Okay, so game 2. Now, if there's a winner, the match is over. If they draw their game, we get a bullet game to decide this. So we're getting, oh, is he taking him to bullet? Hikaru did this on purpose. He wants bullet. And you could see him trying to hold back a smile. And Vidit's like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no, here we go. Here's the draw that everybody has seen many times. Hikaru did this against Magnus. If he feels like it favors him to get rid of this game, he's going to do it. And it does favor him because we get to bullet. So for Vidit Gujrathi, he can enjoy his couple rating points that he earned from this draw, but he's probably not thrilled about entering the bullet. And you see him taking a deep breath there, stretching the neck. It all comes down to this bullet game. Unless they draw, in which case we get more bullet. Here comes the 1-0. All right, Vidit with the black pieces. Will we see Hikaru go for e4? Oh, what just happened? Okay, I guess Hikaru wasn't ready. And does Vidit get the white pieces? Because he was the higher seed, right? Wasn't it Vidit the 3 seed? And no, Vidit was the 7 seed. Ah, okay, never mind. Vidit was the 7 seed. Hikaru was the 4 seed. So Hikaru gets choice. That makes sense. For some reason in my head, Vidit was the 3 seed because they all tied 1st to 8th place with 8.5 out of 10. But I was remembering incorrectly. I think I thought that Mamedyarov was the 2 and then Vidit was the 3, but that was definitely not the case. Okay. And the game is started. Hikaru plays e4. Are we getting the Berlin? I doubt it. No, we get this this delayed exchange Spanish here, an anti-Berlin. And Vidit needs to move quickly. He needs to move well, of course, but he needs to move quickly. And I think that's going to be his biggest problem. Right now, Hikaru is going to use time as a weapon. And knight g5 doesn't actually do anything. This is protect you, just take back. And what's the situation? Whoa, hung a pawn. Vidit won a pawn in the center. That was huge. And Vidit needs to play quickly because he is up a clean pawn right now. And he brings queen back to e6. He wants to play f6 to keep his f5. No, he's going aggressive here. And Vidit is actually ahead on the clock. Wow, Hikaru blundered the e4 pawn. And now Vidit, can he play e4? Can he just push that through? No, he doesn't do it. I'm wondering when e4 is possible, but this g pawn is hanging in many variations. So he plays a5, which both allows him to play a4 and gives his king an outlet. And now g5. He's playing on both sides of the board here. Okay, and Hikaru is even on the clock. So when is e4 going to happen? The queen can be exchanged on d5, but that fixes Vidit's pawn structure as we enter the late middle game stages. Do not take on f4. That blunders the rook on e6. But Vidit's using too much time. And his position is great, but I don't like his clock management right now. e4, what's this? This knight's not hanging. Knight c4? What's going on here? Queen takes f4. Is there some kind of e takes d3 because there's a back rank mate? No, the queen covers on g1. So he brings queen back to c7. And he just does not have enough time, I don't think. He's going to be really trying to save this one, but his clock is not good. No. His clock is really bad for him. Yeah, this is going to be a win for Hikaru, I feel like. Oh, wait, d2. What just happened there? And now it's Hikaru taking d2 next. But don't take this way because queen takes d1. So he takes this way and he's queen g1. That is precision by Hikaru. And he's going to win on the board. He wins on the clock. Hikaru Nakamura takes this Speed Chess Championship Grand Prix. Woo! It was a blunder in the early stages too. Vidit stole a pawn. And Hikaru just said, yeah, okay, I blundered. It happens. Right down the center here. The queen is behind the pawn, so you can't take it back. And still won the game. So what a performance by Hikaru Nakamura, even when it looks like he's in trouble. We're going to take our last break, and when we return, we'll bring Hikaru on, get a quick interview with the Speed Chess Championship Grand Prix winner. And we are back with the Speed Chess Championship Grand Prix winner, Hikaru Nakamura. So I have to congratulate you first and foremost for qualifying for the Speed Chess Championship. Aren't you proud of yourself?
1 second. I apparently have to mute my Zoom. Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? No? Can't hear me? All right, Hikaru.
Wait. I'm doing something wrong. 1 second. Yeah, I think we're good now. So
gotcha.
All right, go ahead.
I was congratulating you as a joke for qualifying for the Speed Chess Championship because you did win the Speed Chess Championship Grand Prix, like the total series. I mean, you're a monster. Like nobody can stop you. How do you do it?
I mean, I think in general, I think in general, mainly what I would say is that you just play every game. You take it one game at a time, basically.
Okay. Well, how about your decision in the final? You made that quick draw, which you've done before when you think it optimizes your winning chances. Against Vidit, you just said, let's make a draw and head to bullet. So that looked like a little bit of foresight by you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that I felt probably against Vidit and Parham specifically, they're two of the best blitz players who I could play against, and so if I have the opportunity to go into bullet, I probably should be a bigger favorite there than I'm going to be in blitz.
Right. And you certainly proved that to be the case. And when you dropped that pawn against Vidit there, were you concerned about the result, or did you feel like you would be able to bounce back? Because that was a pretty important pawn objectively in the position.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point I was a little bit discombobulated. Everything was kind of going weird because I tried to run an ad and then like they started the game right away. Then there was an abort. Then I tried to make a move and then the game started like 5 seconds later. It was all pretty random. But I think again in bullet more so than blitz, you just make moves. And I felt that actually the game against Vidit wasn't the one that I thought was close. I think the game against Parham was the one where he thought for too long. There was this critical moment in the middle game where I think he used like 20 seconds or 15 to 20 seconds for two moves. And that was the game where he was up on time and it's very, very complicated. And I think that one was objectively a little bit closer and tighter than the one against Vidit. Because I just kept making moves against Vidit and he just couldn't keep up with the flow.
Yeah, and obviously both of them are very strong players. But so how do you train that? Like, how do you force yourself to make a move? You just said an example of it was complicated. He was a little ahead in time, but then he spent 20 seconds. So how can you force yourself to play a good move quickly rather than try to find the absolute best move?
I mean, it's bullet chess. Time is money, as the saying goes. And you just try to move quickly. And I think in general, like the one good thing about the position against Vidit especially was that the way the position was, I didn't really have many things to consider. I had to try to maneuver my knight to c4 or play like f4 when he tries g4, h4 on the king side. And so the fact that I didn't really have many moves to consider, I think really helped me in terms of just playing moves because there isn't much to do. I'm down a pawn, I'm much worse, but you just make moves and hopefully your opponent isn't as fast or they make some mistakes. And Vidit, he just wasn't quite fast enough at the end there.
Yeah, and Hikaru, throughout the Speedchess Championship Grand Prix, you won 5 knockout brackets, so pretty impressive there. Did you keep track, or is that a surprise to you?
No, I didn't keep track. I mean, the thing is, most of the ones that I played in, I felt were at least 2 of them were very random, where I got off to a bad start. And I had to win like 4 or 5 in a row at the end to get into the into the knockouts. I knew I had won quite a few. I didn't really pay close attention to it though. So you just play, and I feel like in the head-to-head, especially the format of bullet at the end, generally speaking, I should be the favorite against probably anybody, and I think I kind of proved that based on how many of the knockouts I won.
Okay, my final question for you is: now we know 4 more players who are taking part in the Speed Chess Championship based on their Grand Prix standings, and those are Artemiev, Nuribek Abusatarov, Parham Maksudlu, and Haik Martirosyan. I think you're going to say Artemiev, so I'll exclude him for the time being. Which of those players has the best chance of registering an upset in the Speed Chess Championship?
I mean, you say upset. I'm not sure that I would say Artemiev is an underdog.
That's why I took him out of the equation.
I would also make the argument I'm not honestly sure that Parham is an underdog either out of those 4 guys. So yeah, I guess what I would say is in general, those first 2, I don't think are going to really be underdogs. I think probably Noterbeck is the one who's most likely to cause an upset, though, out of that group of 4. Because I consider Parham and Artemiev to be at least even, if not favorites, when whomever they go up against in the Speed Chess Championship.
So even if they're playing somebody like MVL or Wesley, you'd say that they're about level toss-up?
I mean, I think Parham and Vladislav, yeah, but they're both very strong players. I think it's close. They might be slight underdogs, but they're not going to be big underdogs.
Okay. Now that's some high praise. I mean, we know from Artemiev he's made the semifinals before. That's no surprise. But I guess by FIDE classical rating, it's a different story than when you get to the online, especially these quicker time controls. So, Hikaru, got to thank you for joining us for the interview and congratulate you once more. You are the champion of the Speedchess Championship Grand Prix. You're the reigning Speedchess champion. So a lot of titles to bestow upon you, and we're very appreciative of your time.
Yeah, Thank you. It was fun.
All right. And there you have it, the final standings of the Speed Chess Championship Grand Prix. Hikaru Nakamura finishes in a dominant first, 137.5 points. He made just as many points from the knockout bonus as he did from the Swiss score. And that's the difference. Look at that. I mean, you have the players right after him, Artemiev, Fedoseev, Abdusattorov, and Parham Maghsoodloo. They all scored almost as much as Hikaru did as their Swiss base score, but it was where in the knockout where Hikaru was just an absolute monster, winning 5 of them. And that's where his bonuses came from. And Artemiev, he qualifies. Fedoseev has already made his way through by virtue of finishing second place in the Speed Chess Championship Super Swiss. So Hikaru won that. Fedoseev gets the second spot. And that allows Heike-Marti Rosjan to sneak in as the 4th qualifier from the Grand Prix, in addition to Nordibek Abdusattorov and Parham Maghsoodloo. And a reminder to everybody that there will be more qualification spots on the line. There's one in the Speed Chess Invitational, which will be happening in the near future. You should follow Chess.com on social media to find out when that will be, follow the news reports, but it has not yet been confirmed as the date, but $1,250 first place prize, as well as the qualification to the Speed Chess Championship. And how else could you get the Speed Chess Championship? Well, most of the spots are away. The top 4 from the Grand Prix, the winner of the Super Swiss, which ended up being Fedoseev in second, Nihal Sarin from the JSCC, and that leaves 1 spot up for qualification grabs in the Speed Chess Championship Invitational. On that note, the Grand Prix has come to a conclusion. It's been a really fun series of events. Hikaru Nakamura, week in, week out, no matter who he faces, no matter if he drops an early game or not, he finds his way to the top, and he is a worthy champion. We got to give all the credit in the world to Hikaru Nakamura and to Vidit Gujrathi today for making it such a fun fight, making it to the bullet tiebreaker where Vidit stole a pawn, but just couldn't keep up on the clock, and so Hikaru won it. And that's all from Chess.com for this Speed Chess Championship Grand Prix. I'm Grandmaster Robert Hess. Until next time, keep enjoying the chess, stay safe, and have a good one, everybody.